My own personal view about this U.S. administration is sweet talk doesn't work with them. The only language they understand is force, unfortunately.
Now, President Trump has announced that he'll be imposing a 50% tariff on a wide range of Canadian goods, which opens up the possibility of a trade war with the northern neighbour. It violates the free trade agreement between Canada, the US and Mexico, and President Trump has now just been speaking. He was asked about why he wanted to impose the tariffs.
It's only response to the way they've treated our farmers and our people. Canada's been very, very tough on us over the years, for many years, and no other president's done anything about it. I love Canada. I love the people of Canada. Many friends that live in Canada, but their leadership from Trudeau to the current leadership, I mean, in all fairness to them, they need us to survive. Without us, there's no way they can survive. But they've been very, very tough over a period of the last 50 years, actually.
Well, Chrystia Freeland is the former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada under Justin Trudeau and the one who agreed the US-Canada trade deal in the first Trump administration. Hello to you, Chrystia. Welcome to you.
Great to be with you, John.
Now, thanks for joining us. You are not exactly on each other's Christmas card list. I'm fully aware of that. But what are your thoughts on this latest blast of tariffs?
Look, the thing that makes me really sad about it is it showed to the world that the U.S. under this president is not a reliable partner. I mean, the reality is we actually have a trade deal with the United States, and not just with the U.S., that we negotiated with President Trump. I was there when he signed it. And when he signed it, he said, this is the best trade deal ever. And now, quite frivolously, he's abrogating that deal. I think it's really bad news for the United States. These tariffs are a tax on U.S. consumers, and U.S. inflation is high. Affordability is a challenge. It's bad news for the world, because if you can't trust the United States, it makes it really, really hard to be a partner of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, they're being justified, these tariffs, by the White House on the basis of it's a response to unfair trade treatment by Canada. What do you say to that?
It's just not true. We have a fair and balanced trading relationship governed by a fair and balanced trade deal, which President Trump signed and agreed to. If a country has a trade dispute under our trade deal, there are arbitration panels, which again, President Trump agreed to. In a trading relationship, there are always challenges, but when you have a contract, you abide by that contract and you abide by the arbitration measures that contract allows. And what President Trump is saying is his word just doesn't matter.
So are we heading into a new trade war with tit-for-tat tariffs and trade measures? I mean, Canada is an enormously important market for the United States.
John, you are absolutely right. And when I was foreign minister and negotiating our trade agreement with the first Trump administration, we did also have tariffs imposed on us in the middle of those negotiations. And we responded. We retaliated. We didn't start the trade fight, but my motto during those negotiations was, we do not escalate and we do not back down. And we responded with a dollar for dollar retaliation. Right. My own personal view about this U.S. administration is sweet talk doesn't work with them. The only language they understand is force, unfortunately.
Okay, so what does force in this case look like? Do tell me, what sort of goods would be hit by counter-Canadian measures, do you think?
I'm not predicting what this government will do, but I am saying that I think that when the U.S. imposes tariffs illegally on countries, whether it's Canada or anyone else, I think what we should be doing is in a measured way, more in sorrow than in anger, retaliating. Okay,
and you're ready to go toe to toe. I mean, you look at the list of goods and products that cross the border into the United States, with multi-billion dollar values, and you can hurt America. Do you think you can apply the kind of pressure using the measures and restrictions available to you? Do you think beating President Trump at his own game is an option?
Well, John, it worked last time. In 2018, Canada, along with Mexico and the European Union, responded in a coordinated retaliation, dollar for dollar. And it took about 11 months. But at the end of the day, the US did lift its tariffs on our steel and aluminum. And it worked for two reasons. The first is Canada is actually the largest export market for the US.
Yes.
Canada is bigger than China, Japan, the UK, and France combined. So if we're prepared to use our muscle, it can have an impact. But the second reason that it worked is it had an impact on US consumers and on US senators and congressmen and governors, particularly Republicans. Ultimately, President Trump is a politician, and he doesn't care that much what foreigners say, nor really should he. But he cares a lot about what Americans say.
Yes. Talk to me then about the human impact of this warming up trade war, because it's brought such a chill, hasn't it, over US and Canadian relations. I mean, bourbon, US bourbon, people aren't buying that in Canada anymore. The same could be said for other goods. They've just gone off America. And what about Americans? Has that sort of neighbourly warmth simply evaporated now?
You know, that's a great question, John. And the fact is, regular Canadians, completely setting aside decisions by the government, regular Canadians have been voting with their wallets and with their feet. Regular Canadians have been boycotting US products. Regular Canadians have been choosing not to go on holiday in the United States. Both of those things have been causing real pain to, for example, US winemakers, to US cities and towns that are used to a lot of Canadian tourists. But I would say Canadians, regular Canadians, still have a lot of sympathy for regular Americans. Regular Canadians understand that not all Americans voted for this administration. We look at things like the people of Minneapolis and we admire their courage. But my fear is if this carries on, if regular Americans don't speak out and say this treatment of our neighbor and ally is unacceptable, then maybe the Canadian feeling will spread from antipathy towards the White House to a broader antipathy. I think that would be a real shame.
That is a sad thought. Chrystia Freeland, thank you. The former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada.